Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday to you, my friends. I hope you are well. It is a new week, right? We're back at it again. It's Tuesday. Monday's over. We're well on our way, right, to the weekend. Anybody else already like working their way to the weekend? I am. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. Thank you for joining me and letting me be a part of your day. It's so good to see you guys. Hi, Ruby. Hi, Colleen, Regina, Laurie, Peggy, Cindy, Wanda, Kim. Those are the first names I see. So good to see everybody. You guys, I got some stuff. We got some stuff to talk about. I've got a little announcement, something fun that's extra going on this week. And then I've got something a little serious to talk to you guys about, but not anything like major. And then we're going to get right down to our fun project for today that I'm really looking forward to. I think this one's going to be really pretty. I haven't done it all the way through. I know how to do it. It's one of those where, I know exactly where I'm going with it, but I haven't seen it fully finished. So I'm excited to see that. And I'm glad that you're going to be a part of it as well. Cindy says, I'm at work with her again. My pleasure. My pleasure. I'll come sit with you at work anytime. Anytime. Wanda says, the blue looks good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, speaking of blue, we're going to be working on a blue bead mat today because my white one is so dirty and I am just so lazy and forget to wash it. So I've just turned it over. We'll see how that looks. We'll see how that goes, right? Oh, hi, Karen. It's good to see you. Hi, Sue, Linda. All right, you guys. So let's talk about it. Everybody's coming on in. So let's do a little chat before we get started with everything. So first and foremost, I want to thank everybody who has been buying up the new Silver Silk kits that we've got. Oh my gosh, you guys. Those kits are almost sold out. Like there is literally, and they're not even live yet. I'm actually going to look real quick to tell you how many are left in stock. There are 11 left. We put those on pre-sale on Friday of last week. You guys, there are 11 left. I can't even begin to tell you how many there were. It was a lot. But to say that there are only 11 left is like, whoa. You guys bought those up super, super quick. And Nile and I could not be happier about that. And so I just want to thank you guys. Also want to let you know that I have been able to begin shipping those. They say on them that they don't ship until Monday of next week. However, one of the items that I was waiting for showed up. I've been able to put it all in there. And so some of you are going to start receiving those pretty quickly, which is cool. I'm glad that I'm able to kind of ship those out before what I was scheduled for. It makes me feel like I'm ahead of schedule, even though I'm not really. But so I just want you to know that you will be, those of you that have ordered, some of those are already starting to go out into the mail. I'm going to start processing some more of those tomorrow. So another big group of those will go out. So please don't forget, there are only a handful of those left. And if you are interested in watching to see how that project is put together, we have an extra very special live this week coming up. So set your reminders for this, mark it on, make yourself a sticky note. Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, Nile and I are going to come here. We're going to do a live and we're going to chat with each other and we're going to put that bracelet project together. And that's when it will officially be on sale. But I got to tell you something. I think that it will be sold out before that even happens. But it's still going to be a great live. So if you're looking for an extra live this week, you're going to get one, and you're going to get one with not just me, but with Nile as well. So mark your calendars for that. I'll also put some reminders in the group and on the business page. So looking forward to that. It's going to be really cool. I also have a Michael's class coming up this Saturday. If you want to check that out. I can't remember what the project is. Let me look. Because I have so many, we plan the Michael's classes out so far in advance. I tend to forget which ones are which. Oh, so we are making a friendship bracelet on the jewel loom, actually, for our Michael's class on Saturday. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to come and hang out for that, that class is free. Okay, so let's see. Is this, Nicole says, is it this Thursday or next week? It's this Thursday. This Thursday is when Nile and I will be together for putting the new Silver Silk holiday kit together. I'm so excited. Okay, so that's all the happy stuff. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about something that is kind of serious, but just for a second. I don't want to dwell on this for long because I do want us to keep our spirits up and be nice and happy and move on into the project. But this has been on my heart this morning, and so I feel like I need to say it to you guys. I had a conversation with two of my favorite humans today, and I was trying to talk to them about something, and I feel like I just did not articulate very clearly what it was that I was trying to say. And so I walked away from that conversation feeling like, I don't feel like I said the right things. And not only did I not say the right things, I'm not even saying them to the right people. So I'm going to say them to you guys. Okay. So let me preface this with a couple of things. First and foremost, you guys know that I love you more than anything in the whole world. I love you to pieces. I love my kids and my dogs more than you guys, but you know what I mean? Like, you're on my list of things that I love. You're on my list of favorite human beings. I love our community. I love our group so much. You guys are absolutely amazing. Okay. So I don't want anybody to take this personally or get hurt by anything that I'm about to say. Secondly, I enjoy very much all of the camaraderie that goes on with us, right? I love it. I love our chit chat. I love the fun things that you guys do in the setting or in the chat with each other. You guys, you yell each other's names. I love that so much. When you go to the Michael's classes, you guys are like, hardwire, or I'm sorry, not hardwire, live wire. You shout it out, let everybody know that you're a part of our community. And it means so much to me that you guys do that. Like, you just don't even, you can't fully understand how much I appreciate you guys and how much you guys mean to me. So I want to make that clear before I go forward. The next thing I want to say to you guys is, this is more than just about this one incident, but I want to use this as kind of like the springboard for this conversation. So last week I came into a live to watch it. It was not my live. It was somebody else's live. I went in to watch that live. I was only there for a couple of minutes because what was going on in the chat, I was so uncomfortable by some of the stuff that was being said that, like, even I was like, I had like secondhand embarrassment. You know what I'm saying? Like, even I was unsettled by some of the things that were happening. So I left. And you guys know it takes a lot to like offend me, or like, I've got pretty thick skin, but like some of the stuff that was happening, I was just like, okay, I gotta go. So I left. So I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that since that happened. I've been thinking about that all weekend long. I thought about it all day yesterday, and I woke up with it very heavy on me this morning. And so what I wanted to say was, you guys, as a business owner, like, you guys know that I'm okay with y'all chatting. I'm okay with y'all being rowdy. I'm okay with y'all being silly and making jokes. And I'm okay with some of it, like, getting a little, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys can take it a little far and push it a little bit far. And I'm okay with that because it's a conversation that's happening with you guys, right? It's a conversation that is happening between you all. I can't control you. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do. I appreciate the friendship and the camaraderie. Like, it makes me happy. There does come a point where there's a line, though, that I feel like sometimes the line gets crossed. And though I will never tell anybody what to do or what to say, I will very gently remind you that at the end of the day, like, I'm a business. There are businesses, like, when we're doing Facebook Lives, we're a business, we're representing a business. And when the chat goes too far, when the chat becomes like borderline sexual harassment or becomes just way wild, right? And I'm just saying, it's objective. It's subjective. Everybody's thoughts on what that line is are different. But remember that the person that is doing the video or is doing the live or is teaching the class, they represent a business that they are working very hard to sustain. And not only that, but they are looking to reach other customers. And the things that happen in the chats that are potentially out of control could sway those customers away. Those could be sales that business is losing because a customer comes in and they're like, oh, this is not the community I want to be a part of. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are mature enough to realize that the comment section is no representation of the actual business. But some people don't get that. Some people don't. Some people are like, well, this business obviously condones certain behaviors. And if that's the community, if that's the culture that they are representing, then I don't want to be a part of that. So it becomes a little bit tricky, right? It becomes bad for business. I'm just being completely honest with you. It becomes bad for business. And though we can't control those people, we can always be a gentle reminder to those people by our own actions as to what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable. And being respectful of the business owners, and what they're trying to accomplish, particularly for somebody like me, not just me, but in my situation, like I'm trying to reach out to like Discovery Network. I'm trying to reach out to, other companies and bigger companies. And I really just don't want those companies to come in and be like, oh no, we don't want any part of that. And though those things don't happen in our chat, they do happen elsewhere. And I just want you guys to, just be a shining example. Our live wires, we're a great community. Be an example to the other people out there in the world when you're in the lives. You want to play around and have fun? Totally do it. Totally do it, because it's wonderful. It's inviting, and it brings other people in, and it makes them want to be a part of our group. But just be an example of where that line is, where it becomes too much and maybe becomes uncomfortable for the business owner, maybe becomes uncomfortable for the other people that are there. Like I always use this, like I say to my kids, like if you wouldn't say it in front of your grandma, you shouldn't say it at all. But I realized that doesn't always apply, because some people have like frisky grandma, you know what I mean? So, but you know what I'm trying to say. So that's all I want to put out there. You guys, I totally love you guys more than anything in the world. And I know that you guys can be a shining example of what is good and right in this community and in this culture and in this industry. So keep doing what you do, and just, when you see others, you don't have to call them out, but just understand that their behavior, you don't necessarily have to instigate their behavior or condone their behavior, or just be mindful. Just be mindful. That's all. That's all I got to say. All right. So Wanda's got it right. She's like, these lives are not a Chip and Dale show. You got that right. So there we go. Okay. All right. So what do we got going on today, you guys? We've got some easy macrame, and I like easy projects. And I know you guys too. You do too. But here's where this one becomes a little bit different. We're doing a regular macrame knot. We're doing a square knot. We've done a square knot together a million times, but we are doing it with bead stringing wire, which we haven't done in a while. And we're going to incorporate some goodies that I'm like all hearts about, that are TierraCast stuff. So I have like an inside track with TierraCast, and when they put out new things, I get a little goodie bag in the mail from them, which I love. And I want to show it to you guys to show you what is available. So what I'm saying is TierraCast has new stuff. It's not particularly brand new, because I've been sitting on this for a few weeks, but I want you guys to see these shiny, beautiful, wonderful things that they have that are available, and encourage you to go out and grab some TierraCast goodies, because TierraCast is top quality. They're so cool. So I'm going to incorporate those into our bead stringing wire macrame project. Cannot wait to show you. So let's do it, shall we? Let's do it. All right. Cannot wait to show you. Oh, thank you, Michelle. You're so sweet. Wanda says she was doing macrame this weekend and could hear my voice in her head. Now, I know that could possibly be a scary thing. All right, so all of the little goodies that I have from TierraCast, this is from their new line that's not new anymore. Like I said, I've been having this. I've had this and I've been sitting on it for a while, but just wanted to show you some of the little goodies. Look at this pendant. So there's the moon and the stars on one side, and there's the sun on the other. These are brass. They're gorgeous. The quality is incredible. That's why I love TierraCast so stinking much. So this was in my little bag. There's also a magnetic clasp that has that sunburst on it. I love this. I have a hard time opening it, but it has like a really super strong magnet on it, which is just beautiful. And I love this because you guys know that I have a tendency to try to put lobster clasps on literally everything. And I shouldn't when there are clasps in the world that are this beautiful, right? So there's that one. There are these little charms that I absolutely love. I'm going to put one of these in our bracelet today. So it has that sunburst with that beautiful crystal in the center. And then on the other side, it has the moon and the stars. So I love the two-sidedness of things, right? This is their celestial collection. And these are just a few of the things that are part of that. I've got a button. We're going to be, is that not gorgeous? It's a shank style button. We're going to use that in our project today as well. I also have these little blanks that you can put your own crystals in if you want to, right? Or cabochons, whatever you want to put in those. There are some that already have the crystals set in. Is that not like magic? Those are magical. They're so pretty. I'm going to make earrings out of these for myself. They're so, so pretty. Then I have a couple of little things that also came in my little, uh-oh, I just knocked over something with my foot. These also came in my little bag of goodies, and it is these little connectors. So they have two loops on either side. Two of them already have the crystal, but then these are blank. So you could put your own crystals in them if you wanted to, or whatever you wanted to. It doesn't have to be a crystal, right? And then last but not least, out of my little goodie bag was, I guess I won't pull that open, but it's these little moon phases charms. And so you can put these, so like the full moon goes in the middle, and then you can put the moon phases out from it. You can see how they're little half moons and like quarter moons. I know that's hard to see in the packaging, but I don't have any scissors and I couldn't get this open with my fingers. So, but they're just beautiful. And like I said, this is just the beginning. This is just like the tip of the iceberg of the wonderful things that are TierraCast. So we're going to use some of this in our project today. In particular, I'm going to use the button as our clasp, and I'm going to use one of the pendants or the little charms here as the center of our bracelet. And then I'm also going to be using, which looks terrible against this blue mat, I'm using some of these brown crystals. Austrian, you guys know, what kind of crystals these are, but for the sake of, not getting us in trouble, I'm just going to say these are Austrian crystals in brown. And I normally don't do a lot of brown and I don't do a lot of gold, but that's what we're going to be doing. So I really feel like this blue mat is just the wrong color to be showing all this off. Turn us back over to our dirty, dirty bead mat. Just don't judge. I don't know that helped very much. And of course yeah. Okay. All right. So what we're going to be using for our project today is the tying station. If you don't have a tying station, I would suggest putting this on your gift list, right? For the holidays. If you need a gift, somebody asks you what you want, I'd ask for a tying station because I love mine. I use it for so many different things. And that's what we're going to be using for our project today. So I am going to start with I've got two different sizes of bead stringing wire here. Okay. So this is going to be our core wire. It's a 19 strand. It is the 0.38 millimeter, and it's going to work with number 1 crimp tubes and number 1 crimp beads. That's what I'm going to be using for the core. But for our actual knotting, I'm going to use a 49 strand and a little bit thicker. So this is a 0.61 millimeter. It works with number 2s and number 3s, which is, I really don't even, that part doesn't matter too much except for at the end. But this is what I'm going to be using for the knotting. So if you've never knotted with bead stringing wire before, this is probably a good opportunity to do that. A great way to try it out because it's gorgeous. Look how pretty it is, right? Why wouldn't you want to show that off? Okay, so for our core wire, I want a piece that's about 12 to 14 inches long. Of course, we're not going to be using all of that. But you know what? Maybe I should use the big wire for the core as well. I can't decide how I want to do. I think I'm going to leave it just like it is. We're going to use this because I want to show off both of these wires. So cut yourself about 14 inches of this. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this and you're going to put this, we're going to crimp. We're going to make ourselves a loop. And we're going to put that loop over the this top part of our tying station here. So I'm going to make a loop that is going to be big enough to clear our button. So there's not any actual real hardware here. Let's see. I do have to have some crimps though. Okay, so let me show you. Oh, thank you. Nicole has posted my affiliate link for Beadalon. Feel free to use that if you want to do any shopping on the Beadalon website to grab yourself a tying station or anything else. Totally appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to thread on a crimp tube onto my bead stringing wire, and then I'm going to take my bead stringing wire and I'm going to make a loop bigger than what I would normally make, right? Because normally I'm just like looping through either a wire guardian or something like that. But this is a loop that is actually going to function as the loop for our clasp. So I want that loop to be nice and big, and I need to crimp to secure my loop. Now, I'm going to make sure, again, just like we do with all of our crimping, that we do not cross those bead stringing wires within the crimp. They're running parallel. And we're going to crimp with our crimper tool by placing that into the back notch. That's going to further separate out those bead stringing wires within the crimp. And then we're going to place that crimp sideways into the front notch and close that back. Now my loop may have gotten a little small, but I think it will still fit. Yeah, it's still going to fit. All right. So there's my loop. Okay. And I want to come in and trim off the excess wire. Now, if you want to put a crimp cover over this, you can, but I would wait to put the crimp cover on until after you've actually started and gotten to the end of your bracelet, because we're going to be working right up against that crimp. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the loop, I'm going to loop it over the little rod here on the tying station. Then I'm going to put the plate back down, the washer. Albert, stop that. And then I'm going to take the wing nut. Albert, no, sir. Goodness gracious, he's going to town on his paws. Just chewing them up. Okay, I'm going to tighten that down. Okay, so now this end of our bead string wire is secure. I'm going to go to the other end of the tying station, and I'm just going to loosen this up, and I'm going to slide this between the two plates. So I'm not going to take it all the way off. I'm just going to slide it right in, and then I'm going to tighten this right back down. Okay, and that has secured our core wire. Now we're ready to knot over this. You can knot over this with whatever you want to do, right? You don't even have to use the bead stringing wire. This just makes a great core. Uh-oh, you know what we forgot? We forgot to thread on our beads. That's pretty important. So I'm going to thread on, I just released this from the bottom. I'm going to thread on our crystals here. So I'm going to do 3 crystals, and I'm going to actually undo the end again before we do our, will I do it that way? I'm trying to think. No, I'm going to go ahead and put a jump ring on this. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. I apologize. Trying to figure out how it is I'm going to attach my charm to this. And I'm going to go ahead and put a jump ring on this, and I'm going to thread it right on. You can always put your charm on later if you want to, but I feel like it just kind of saves time if we go ahead and do it now. So I'm just going to take a really small 4mm jump ring, and I'm going to open that up. I'm going to attach it to our charm. Right? And then I'm going to thread that jump ring onto our bead stringing wire, and that'll just keep everything all secure, right? All right. So I'm going to thread on 3 more of our crystals, and then I'll secure the end of that, and we'll get started with our knots. So the knotting process is super easy. We've done square knots before, but we've never, if we have done it with bead string wire, it's been a while. So I'm going to show you how to do that, right? So I'm going to slide all of these down. They're down here at the bottom. They're ready to slide up when we are ready to use those. Whoa. Okay, now I'm going to cut my 49 strand bead stringing wire that I want to use for the knotting. And this is a thicker wire. You're going to need a lot of this. I don't have an exact measurement, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to start out with about 8 feet of this just because I don't know particularly how much I'm going to need. And whatever's left over, I can always use for other projects. So just make sure that you give yourself at least 6 feet for sure. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bead stringing wire underneath our core wire, and I'm going to find the center by bringing my 2 ends together. Okay. And at the middle, I'm going to slide that right up, making sure that the middle is where we are. Okay. Now I'm going to do a square knot. And to do that, I'm going to take the right side of my bead stringing wire. Okay. Taking the right cord, it's going over the top of our center core wire and out here to the left. Okay. I'm going to take my left-handed part of the bead stringing wire. Oops. I'm going to make sure that I'm crossing over the top of the wire that we just brought out this direction. And then I need to go behind that center core and up through the loop that we made on the right-handed side. Okay. And then you're going to pull. That's the first half of your square knot. Now it's going to be that way no matter whether you are using bead stringing wire or nylon or copper, or not copper, but cotton cord, any of those things. These steps are going to be exactly the same. Okay. So I'm going to just repeat that process, but I'm going to do it on the left-handed side now. So I start with the left. I'm making a backwards P shape, right, over the center core wire and taking the length of that out to the right. I'm going to take my right-handed cord, make sure that it is crossing over the top of the cord that I have going out this direction, and then go behind the core wire and up through that backwards P shape on the left-handed side. That is the second step of my square knot. So square knots happen in 2 steps. Okay. You always got to do both sides of that. Okay. So now we're just going to repeat. We're just going to keep doing that knot over and over again. Okay. And then as we work up a little bit of the length, you're going to see how beautiful this bead stringing wire is when it's knotted. And we're going to bring a bead into this. Okay. So right-handed side. So we're making our P shape across or over the top of the core, taking our left and going back behind and up through that P shape and pull. And then we're going to do the same thing, but this time on the left. So our backwards P shape, crossing over and then going behind and up through. Okay. And then I just want to make sure that I'm pushing that up against our crimp here. Now there's still room to add a crimp cover later if we want to, right? Which I'll probably do. But I love this. In the comments I see Prudence says, I didn't know you could tie with this wire. And Kendall says, me either. And she has like her mind blown here. It's so funny because I feel like people forget the wonderful things you can do with your bead stringing wire. Yeah, we like to string it. We like to put our beads all over the top of it. But sometimes we want to show off that gorgeous color. This gold is so warm and so beautiful. You mix the right beads in with it. Yeah, I'm all about showing it off. And the 49 strand is the best for the tying because it creates really nice, beautiful, tight knots. Not to say that you can't do it with the 19 strand because you can. It's just that I really feel like the 49 strand holds its knot shape so much better. All right, so I'm going to repeat again. I'm going across across and then up through. Cindy, I got you. Hold on just a second. I'll bring the little packages back out so you can see here in just a second. All right. So on the left, our backwards P, our right cord goes back behind and up through. A lot of people are just now coming in. So let me show you the kind of wire that I'm using. So I'm using bead stringing wire actually to create this beautiful macrame square knot bracelet. And I'm using it in 2 different sizes. So our core wire is a 19 strand gold color wire in 0.38 millimeters. So it's a little thin. It's a thin wire. You don't have to use the thin wire if you don't want to. You can use something thicker. But the bead stringing wire that we're knotting with is a 49 strand gold color, and it's a little bit thicker. It's this 0.61. If you want to use the 0.61 for your core wire, you absolutely can. I just wanted to mix the 2 together, but it's up to you. Okay. All right. So want to show you guys for just a refresher for anybody who hasn't done square knots in a while. It's kind of hard to see over the camera here, but the way to count your knots is to count the little bumps on the right side. So there's 1 bump, 2 bumps, 3 bumps, and 4. The 4 bumps goes to show that I've done 4 complete knots. Now remember, that is that's the full 2 steps, right? For the square knot happens in 2 steps. So that's how you count. All right. So I'm going to pick back up. Okay. We've got 4 knots. I'm going to do, I don't know, a few more, and then we'll move a bead into this. So I'm taking my right hand wire, making a P shape over the top of our core. Hold that in place. Take your left wire and go back behind all of that and up through that P shape that you made and pull. That's the first step. Second step is make your backwards P shape on the left. Right cord goes behind the center core and up through. And pull. And that completes knot number 5. Okay. Kim says, did you get the thing? You have it attached to it, Beadalon. It seems very handy. Yes, ma'am. So what I'm using here is the Beadalon Tying Station, and it is so handy. It's perfect for working on designs where you want to attach, but you want to have your 2 hands free. So not just for macrame, but for all kinds of designs. The Tying Station is one of my very, very favorite Beadalon tools to use. It's very, very cool. All right, so again, we're just going to repeat. We're doing our P shape with the right. Left cord goes behind and up through. And pull. Okay. Left side, same thing, just backwards. So our backwards P, right cord goes behind and up through. And pull. Okay, so we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to do 7 knots, and then we're going to add a bead. Okay, so P shape on the right, behind, whoops, behind and up through, pull, and then the left. So we're doing our backwards P, right cord goes behind and up through. Stacy says, can you do this with the loom? So the only part of this, you can attach your ends on the loom if you want to. So I guess technically the answer to that is yes. I mean, because it's not really a looming technique, but if you need something to secure your work to, you absolutely could secure this to the loom. All right, so now we're going to slide a bead up, right? And you can see just how pretty that gold and that brown. Yes, please. So, so pretty. Okay. So now we're just going to keep knotting, right? We're going to knot the exact same way. We're just going to pretend like that bead is not there, right? So nothing changes. Right side, our P shape, the left cord goes behind and up through. And pull. Now, when you pull around a bead, it's going to be a little loose until you get that second half of the knot in, right? But you can tighten it up as you go. And the bead string wire is a little bit slippery, but I find that it's not so slippery that it's too hard to work with. So left hand side, so we're doing our backwards P shape, our right-handed cord goes behind and up through. Before I secure this part of the knot, you can see how my first knot around the bead has gotten a little bit loose. I'm going to pull it and then pull that one just right up next to it. See, so it wasn't hard to secure it. You just got to take an extra second, right? Just take an extra second to get that secure. All right, so now we're going to do another 6 because we've done 1. We're going to do another 6 knots and then we'll add another bead. Okay. All right, so our P shape with our right cord across that center core, taking our left cord, we're make sure that you always cross over the cord that you just kind of brought out here. So we're going over the top of it, but then it's behind all the rest and up through and pull. And then we're going to repeat that on the left. So backwards P shape over the top of our core, right-handed cord goes behind and up through. Monica says, where can I get a tying station? So you can grab a tying station over on the Beadalon website. I hope they're in stock because sometimes they're out of stock because they sell out pretty quickly. Laura says, do you think this would work with 2 different colors of beading wire so each side has 2 strings? It works with silk. Yes, it absolutely works with more than 1 bead string wire. You can change up the colors. You can change up the sizes. I picked this thick one just because I was using a single strand so that I could have a nice thick knot. But you could do thinner bead stringing wire and do more colors, right? And have like 2 or 3 strands of it on each side. And it would be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I would love to see that actually. All right. So, Nicole says Beadalon is out of stock. You might want to try Amazon. Amazon is always my backup when Beadalon is out. All right, so P shape. And then my left cord goes behind and up through. Pull. Left side. My right cord goes behind and up through. Laura says she's amazed that you can do this with this kind of wire, right? And it's so beautiful. It's so pretty. It's hard to see the sparkle and the shimmer in that bead stringing wire. I don't think it's coming across on camera, but it is really it's stunning. It really is. You know, it looks like 24 karat gold wire, even though it's not, but that's what it looks like, right? It looks like intricate gold knotted yumminess. Those are all technical terms, my friends. All right, so going across this direction, okay, my P shape across the core, left core is going behind and up. You know what? I do have an Amazon affiliate link, and it's different for every product, and I always forget about it. I'll have to dig that one up for you guys. All right, so left across the core, behind and up through. Yeah, I'll show you that. I'll show you the wire one more time, Sharon. No problem at all, because we're just doing a lot of repetition here. Let me get 3 more beads, or I'm sorry, 3 more knots on this, and I'll show the wire again. Okay. So P shape on the right, left cord goes behind and up through and pull. Left is our backwards P shape. Our right cord goes behind and up through. What millimeter bead am I using? I'll tell you that too. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, right side, pull, our left side, and pull. I said 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do one more knot. I'll show you guys the wire and I'll tell you about the beads. All right. So it's so pretty. Really is just so beautiful. Isn't that great? I love it. I love it. Okay. So just one more little refresher here. So for my core, I'm using 19 strand gold color in the 0.38 millimeter. It's a thinner wire. 19 strand it's a great wire. You can do the knotting with 19 strand if you want to too. It's just thinner than what I'm knotting with. So what I'm knotting with is the 49 strand and the 0.61 millimeter. So it's a little bit thicker. You can see the diameter is a bit bigger. It makes a nice chunky, beautiful knot. And for the beads that I am using these crystals, and I'll tell you how big these are. So this is a 10 millimeter. So I'm using a 10 millimeter bead. You can use any size you want to, though. You guys, you can use any combination that you want to. Did somebody say Sam was here? Sam. Oh, Sam. We love you so much. All right. I'm going to slide another bead up. Okay. Can you use tiger tail? I think you can. I don't have any tiger tail, but it behaves very similarly to a bead stringing wire. So I would assume that you can. All right. So we're sliding a bead up. We're going to do our knot again. So we are doing the right side with our P shape. Our left side goes behind and up through. I'll get it for you. Don't you worry, Kendall. All right. So again, remember when we add a bead, that first knot is a little slippery. It's going to come undone, but we're going to go ahead and do the left side. We're going to do our backwards P shape. The right cord goes behind and up through. And before I tighten that knot down, right, I'm going to pull it close. So I don't have to pull very far, but I'm going to go ahead and tighten that one back up, right? That first step of the knot. Go ahead and tighten it up and then pull your second step of that knot right up next to it and it'll secure everything down, right? All right, so let's do 6 more knots. Sarah Ross says, what's the difference between tiger tail and bead stringing wire? I thought they were the same. So they actually are not. They're two completely different creatures, but behave very, very similarly. The thing is, I do not know enough about tiger tail to really kind of tell you a whole lot about tiger tail. But I do know that it is different. It is different. They are different creatures. They're made in different ways. But I just don't have enough information to tell you. I wish I did. Right, I'm going to pull. Karen says, how long is your 49 strand wire? So I actually cut myself about 8 feet, believe it or not, because we started in the middle of it. So I had 4 feet on the right and 4 feet on the left. I'm going to assume that is way too much. Actually, I don't think it's way too much, but I think you could get away with about 6 feet for your bracelet. Oh, Evelyn says, I love this community. You're all so positive and supporting. Thank you. We pride ourselves on that. We just had a really good conversation about that. Pull. Okay, now I'm ready to start on the right again. Yeah, Anita, let us know for sure. All right, so right hand, P shape, left, goes behind and up through. The base wire is about 14 inches. All you need really is just a base wire that's going to be long enough for you to make a loop and crimp on the ends. I like to use a piece that's as long as my tying station just so that I have it nice and secure. I'll have some leftovers, but it won't be a ton. All right. So left side, the right one goes back behind and up through. Pull. Okay. Right side. So looping on the right for our P shape, taking our left-handed cord, going behind and up through. Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. Patty says, I'm a time traveler too, but I can only move forward and at a regular speed. Oh my gosh, Patty, you're my hero. That is the smartest thing ever. I love it. I too am a time traveler. with the same, moving forward at regular speed. That is brilliant. That's brilliant. Oh my goodness. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got to do 2 more knots, and then we're going to bring our little charm into this. So just a little repeating here. I love you guys' question. She says, can you talk about tension for a hot minute? I sure can. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to know about tension? So yeah, with the bead stringing wire, it's amazing to me, and I think it'll be amazing to you too if you've never used bead stringing wire to do macrame with. I think you will be surprised at the fact that you don't have to pull this so hard that you're like straining. It really amazingly creates these little knots without much major effort. I'm really not pulling that hard. Am I securing it and pulling it snug? Of course I am, but I'm not like pulling crazy tight on this. I think you'll see though that the different diameters of the bead stringing wire, depending on what size you use, is going to behave a little bit differently. Some are going to take a little bit more tension than others. I do find that the 49 strand, you don't have to pull on it nearly as hard, but the 19 strand, you really do have to use a little bit more tension on it to get it to pull and to stay in that knot. The 7 strand, it does not knot very well. I'll just be completely honest with you. You can knot with it, but it just doesn't behave in the same way. Just because it doesn't have the same flexibility. All right, so let's look again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this was 7. So we're going to finish off on the left side with our 7, or 7th. Okay. All right, now I'm going to slide up my charm here. So I've got, is that not pretty? I just can't help but just to kind of look at it in awe because it is just so pretty. Okay. Oh, I'm not going to slide up my charm yet. I have a whole nother bead here, but I'm thinking maybe, should I do it like that? No, I don't want my bracelet to get too long. If I do another, I'm afraid we're kind of pushing into too long territory. If I do another 7 knots, that's going to put it, let's see here. So 7 knots is about an inch. So that would put my charm down here at 4.5 instead of up here. All right, well, we'll do it. We may just end up with a really long bracelet, but that's okay. So I thought it was time for the charm. It's not. We're going to slide this bead up. I'll do the next 7 ones pretty quickly, and we'll slide that charm in. Okay, but first we got to secure this bead. So making sure that that knot is nice and tight by doing the 2 steps and then tightening up that first step. There we go. Just do a few knots. That's what I'll do. I like what you're thinking, Prudence. So instead of 7, I'll do just a few. All right. So we've got 1. We're going to do another one. I love getting to design kind of on the fly, though I knew what I was making and how I was going to do it. It's not particularly on the fly, but to have those little questions like that and to have you guys put your input into it is pretty awesome. That's why I love these lives. It's so cool. All right. So there's 3. We can slide our charm in. Right now, so what I was thinking was that I would take both sides. So instead of knotting around, I'm thinking I'll just take both strands of my bead stringing wire, run one, through like that, right? And then I'll run the other one through as well. Then that way our charm is going to be sitting on 3 strands of bead stringing wire. I love it, Prudence. So I don't know how that's going to sit. I don't think it's going to do what I think it's going to do, to be completely honest with you. Maybe that's not a good idea. In my head, this was going to do a whole lot better. This is going to make more sense, but now I'm starting to question if I try to knot here. Don't think my jump ring is going to be big enough to accommodate that. What do y'all think? Let's just go ahead and put a knot in here. We'll see what happens, because I can always take it out, right? So, because if it doesn't sit the way I want it to, I can take it out and I can put my charm on a bigger, Albert, please use your manners. Put it on a bigger jump ring. Bigger jump ring. Yep. You guys are so smart. I'm so glad you're with me. Let's put it on a bigger jump ring. But yeah, that's how we're going to do it. So I'm just going to use a beading awl. So if you ever need to undo, I like to use the beading awl. And I'm not aggressive. I'm just, because the bead string and wire has that nice nylon coating on the outside of it. So it's nice and slippery. So I don't have to be super aggressive. I can just wiggle those knots undone with my beading awl. And I would go through the actual charm, but let me show you the reason that I'm not. And it's because of the way it is hanging. So see how the loop on the charm, if I did it that way, it would string. If I just went through the loop of the charm, then it would be on the bracelet like that. And I don't want it to be that way. I want it to lay flat. So it kind of has to be on a jump ring. That's the only reason that I added the jump ring. Ideally, I would love to just not have a jump ring at all. But yeah, don't put the top strand through. I think that's a good idea too. Let's change up the jump ring size here. And whoops. We're going to do a 6 millimeter jump ring. Albert, stop it. You're being gross. And truthfully, guys, you don't have to make this complicated. Okay. You really and truly can just take a big jump ring and put it over the top of your knots and call it a day. You don't have to go to all this trouble. But I'm extra, so I always make things extra difficult. And I just wanted it to be knotted in place so that it didn't go anywhere. You know what I mean? Okay. So let's try this again. I agree. Colleen says excellent learning curves here. I agree. I love it when we can dissect these things together. All right. So let's see if I go ahead and make a knot now. So I put the bottom wire through, but not the top wire. Let's see how that will work. Right. So I don't know that that's going to be the answer to this though. You know, with that, I could go with the smaller jump ring. Let's just leave it like it is. Because this is going to work. So I only threaded through just the bottom bead string and wire, or I'm sorry, the one that's on the right. You know what I mean? That works. It's gonna stay in place, right? That jump ring could have stayed a 4 millimeter and we would have been good though, but it's all good. Okay, so now we got to do do a couple more of our knots, and then we'll be ready to add another bead. I want to get down to I want to get through this to the end though, so that we can finish this off together with our little button, right? So I'm looking forward to using that button. Okay, I'm going to do one more knot and then we're going to add our bead. All right, so we're good to go. Okay, we're going to slide up our next bead. And we're just going to keep going. So our right-handed cord, left is going back behind and up through. Okay. The left. Behind and up through. Now, before I pull that second part, pull that first one. Okay. Tighten that down. All right, let's do this quickly. Okay. So if you need to see these knots slower, you can go back and watch in the replay, right? That's the great thing about these Facebook Lives is that they live on forever. You can also go and view them on my YouTube channel. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. It's a great resource if you need to go back and watch the videos. They're easy to find. They're very easy to fast forward and skip through, get to the good parts. I feel like the controls on the YouTube videos for replays is much easier than the Facebook replays. That's just my opinion though. So please go and be a part of my YouTube channel as well. And you can always watch the YouTube, or you can always watch our lives. Whoops. You can always watch our lives through Facebook, or I'm sorry, YouTube now as well, since I stream to both, which is fantastic. All right. So I got going too fast and messed up that last knot, so you can see me fix it. Okay, now let's count. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got to do 2 more, and then we'll add another bead. We're getting pretty close to the end here. And I can definitely speed this up even faster than what we're doing. I'm going to raise you guys up a little bit too. I'm sorry I keep hitting you. You're very, very close. Okay. All right. Doop. How did I know that the knot wasn't right? Because it was starting to twist. So here's the thing about square knots. And Dottie, I wish I had stopped and been a little bit more, I had talked that through a little bit more. But with a square knot, if you do the right side 2 times in a row, or if you do the left side 2 times in a row, instead of doing the right and then the left, it creates a twist in your knots. And it'll start to turn the entire piece, and you can you'll literally be able to see it. And it's a great knot if you want a twisted kind of spiral, but I like for my square knots to be nice and flat. So I do right and then left. But if you do right and right or left and left, you get a really cool twist. Okay, we've only got 1 more bead to add, and then we're going to finish this off. And we're going to use our TierraCast button. Janetta says she watches both YouTube and Facebook when live, but watches the replays on YouTube, which I am very grateful of. I don't know if you guys know this or not, and I try not to push things. I try not to push the money part of this. Facebook doesn't pay me anything to do lives or for people to watch the replays. However, I get ad revenue over on YouTube. And though it's not a lot, it does add up. So when you go to YouTube to watch things, to watch replays, I do get a little bit of ad revenue from it. Does it stink because you have to sit through the ads? It does. But But YouTube is part of my overall income. So every little bit helps. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got one more knot. Wanda says, if I buy a kit, I write down the date of the tutorial. Yeah. And you guys, in the descriptions of the kits, I try to put in in the description, I'll put in what date of the tutorial it is, so that you can easily go back and watch that. The problem with that I have learned, though, is that once an item sells out, it's hard to retrieve that information again. You actually have to go back into your orders, not me going into your orders, but you going into your past orders, and you can find that item description that way, and it'll give it to you. But it's just an extra step, which kind of stinks. So yes, Susie said, watched one of my Contastic tutorials yesterday and is geared up for tonight's hardwired class. I'm looking forward to that so much. So for those of you who are not part of the Hardwired group, that's my paid Facebook group. We have a great community there. We do projects that are a little bit harder. We do have a little bit more one-on-one because we work in a smaller group. And it's extra lives. There are guests that come once a month. There are just lots of extra perks to being part of the Hardwired group. If you would like to be a part of the Hardwired group, we have just a little bit longer for open enrollment, and then we'll be closing the window on that again. And you'll have to wait until the end of the month and beginning of next month if you want to be a part of that. So the way to do that is, if you want to, you go to the Hardwired Facebook group and apply to be a part of that group. Make sure you answer the questions, and we will send you an invoice and get you started and give you access to the group. In that group, you can rewatch those lives, but they stay within the group. They don't get shared out, right? Because it's paid for content. Let's see. On the silver silk bracelet, if you sell out, will you be getting more after the pre-sale? I do not believe we're doing any more after that. We're actually going to be moving on to another project. So if you guys are wanting those silver silk kits, there's like less now that the show has started. There's less than 10. There's less than 10 in the shop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got one more knot, and we're going to finish this off. Alicia says, I have a video request. Can you revisit some of the videos you made for that other company? Yes, Alicia, I tell you what, and that's a wonderful idea. My friend Kathy was telling me about that yesterday too, that there's no reason why I can't revisit some old projects and put a new twist on those. Guys, if you've got project requests, whether I did it here, whether I did it at Beadalon, whether I did it at JTV, whether I did it at Jesse James Speeds, whether I did it with Sam or with Neela, please feel free to tell me what projects you guys would like to see again. Because I have such a huge library of projects that I've done over the past 10 years. I'm sure we could come up with some that you guys would like to see again that maybe I could do with a new twist. Okay. So I have finished off. I've added all of the beads. I've added my charm to the bracelet, right? And now I'm down here to the end. Now, here's the thing. We have 3 pieces of bead string wire. What are we going to do with those? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to show you. We got to get this back down to just 1 strand, right? So what we're going to do, this is where this information comes in important. Remember when we were talking about the millimeter of our bead stringing wire, and I made sure to point out what size findings go with this. So as far as your crimps are concerned, this 0.61, this thick wire that we're using here, you got to have a number 2 or a number 3 crimp bead, or a number 2 or a number 3 crimp tube, because it's nice and thick. So I told you that for a reason, because we're going to actually have to use one of those that's this size to do 1 step of our bracelet. So I got to grab one here. So I've got the number 2. I might need a number 3, but I think I'll be able to do this with a number 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to undo the bracelet from the tying station. Okay, so I'm going to take it from the top as well. Okay. Remember our loop is here. I'm just going to take that off and set all this over to the side. Now remember, we're doing this with no clasp. We're just using a really pretty button from TierraCast that matches our charm. Okay. But I've got to find a way to attach that, right? It's a shank style button, and I need to attach it to our bracelet so that our loop can loop over our button. First order of business is getting this down to a single strand of bead stringing wire. So I'm going to take a number 2 crimp. Okay. Number 2 crimp tube. Actually, maybe I need to grab the 3s. I'm going to grab a 3 just. Let's do this with a 3. I know I'm being a little wishy-washy. I apologize. So we're going to use the 3 because it's a bigger crimp tube. Okay. Whoa. We're going to slide all 3 of our bead stringing wires into this crimp. Okay. So take all 3 ends, thread them all into this larger crimp tube. So the 2 larger wires, also need to take your smaller wire, thread that in there too. Okay. And we're going to bring all this down. Okay. And we're actually going to crimp. And what I want is, because there are 3 strands of bead stringing wire here, this is not going to crimp like a normal crimp, and that's okay. Right? That's okay, because this is an exception to all of the crimping rules. I've got all my bead stringing wire in there. I am going to crimp this with my crimper tool. I'm going to place that crimp into the back notch of the crimper tool. I do want to try to keep my thinnest wire in the center. Okay. Give that a crimp. Oh, come on. It's not going to be super pretty until I get a crimp cover over it. And that got crimped off to the side, which is not my favorite, but place that into the front crimper. That just did not go the way I wanted it to, y'all. Let's see if I can get that off. I wonder if I can. I bet I can't. I think I'm past the point of return here. All right, that's okay. So give that a squeeze. Okay. See how it's sitting off to one side? I really wanted it to be centered, but it's just not. That's okay. Okay, I've got it secured. Now I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and I'm going to trim off these 2 other ends. Boop, I don't want those. They can go away. We don't need them. They're secure. We're going to put a crimp cover over this. When we get finished, I got to find them. I don't know where my gold crimp covers are. Okay. But now I want to attach my button to this. And so we're just going to crimp our button on. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take my bead stringing wire and a crimp. This time I'm using the number 2 crimp that fits this wire. Okay. I'm going to take that bead stringing wire, and actually let's put a wire guardian on this part, so that wire guardian is what is actually going to be up against the metal of our button. That's going to protect our bead stringing wire. So I'm going to thread on a wire guardian to the end of the bead stringing wire. You'll see what I do here in just a second. Some of you are going, wait, what? I don't understand what's happening. Okay. So wire guardian, thread on the button. Okay. Now the wire guardian is what's between our bead stringing wire and the shank, right? Take the tail of your bead stringing wire down through your crimp and bring all that down, right? And now we're just going to crimp again. So on this end of our bracelet, we're going to have 2 crimp covers, right? And I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me a bit. They're pretty. Okay. I don't have those at the moment though. Just going to go ahead and take that off. Now our bracelet's done. Okay. All I got to do is just add the crimp covers to this, but check it out. So we've got a button, our bead stringing wire, And I kind of knocked it out of shape here, but we've got our macrame bracelet made out of bead stringing wire. It's nice and soft. Isn't that pretty? Is that not pretty? I love it. The bead stringing wire is so lightweight and so beautiful, knotted. You get to look at all of that gorgeous shine. Show off your buttons, right? Or not your buttons, but show off your beads. And you've still got a really cool button clasp, which is super easy to put on, right? You don't have to worry about opening and closing your hardware. I need to work on my charm a little bit. That wasn't my favorite way to add my charm to this. But I think I can fix it as it is and clean it up just a little bit. I really just feel like it needs a smaller jump ring. So I'm going to very carefully go in there and switch them out. But yeah, so there you go. And we've used this gorgeous button. We've shown off our gorgeous bead stringing wire. The only thing that's left is the crimp covers, which I got to go dig through my stuff to find. But that's pretty much it, you guys. That's the show. That's it. We're done. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going to turn you guys around. Takes me a second here with this StreamYard. Sometimes the controls are a little different than just doing a straight up Facebook Live. So that's it, you guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. Look how pretty. It's really, really just a stunning, stunning bracelet. It is very delicate. Like, it's like macrame, but like glitzy macrame. You know what I'm talking about? It's not like we've done hemp, right? I feel like this is more wintertime appropriate macrame, because usually when I think of macrame, I think of like summertime and beachy jewelry and soft, fun boho chic. Whereas this is sparkly, just yummy, right? Just gorgeous gold and sparkle. That TierraCast is where it's at. The crystals, a beautiful little button. So you don't have to make like macrame to be big and chunky and bulky. You can make it delicate and gorgeous. And so there you go. I hope you've enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun project. I think the results are really, really beautiful. So yeah, that's it. That's it, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you guys for just being awesome, right? Remember, I told you guys at the beginning, if you came in late, go back and watch the beginning of this video. You guys are just a shining example of what it means to be respectful and just good people in general. And I'm just proud of you guys. So continue to be a shining light out there and a example of what being a wonderful person is, right? Spread the love around, spread the video around too. If you want to, please feel free to share. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, share that around if you want to. And let's see, anything else? Don't forget, we've got an extra special live this week at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, when we will be putting together the new Silver Silk holiday kit, and Neelay Patel will be here. So that's an extra live for you guys this week. I'm looking forward to it. Don't forget to go grab those kits, because once they're gone, and there's only a handful of those left. So you might want to grab those now. In the meantime, I love you guys, and I will see you soon. I'll see the hardwires later this afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Bye, guys. Have a great afternoon.